So we're going to do a little bit of a different video today, all around online coaching and transitioning over from full-time work to online work / full-time work to self-employed life. And I wanted to talk about it because I am incredibly passionate about what I do. I have worked incredibly hard to get to a position with my online coaching where I am, and I'm still fighting to get better all of the time. And I thought it would be great to be able to share my experience with others so that you could learn from it and potentially apply it to what you're trying to do. If you also want to go from being fully fully full-time worker to being self-employed. So a little bit of a background to me. I've always had a passion to help or to want to help others. When I was younger, I always wanted to be a nurse, and comes with that things that I realised I didn't quite like, essentially vomiting. What a great way to start a video. But I don't like certain things that come out of other people. So I thought that my realisation of becoming a nurse was becoming less and less. Plus, when I was diving full time, I did get offered a scholarship, but it did need to be a sports course. So I thought to myself, right, if I'm still wanting to help others, but it needs to be in a sports background, I'm going to go and do sports coaching and teaching at university. So I did that, and that's where it then progressed into teaching, did my PGCE, did my master's in education, and then taught for quite a few years. I didn't have the best passion for my job, and I'm not afraid to admit that, in that I felt it was very box ticky. I didn't really feel like I was helping the children at school. Often they were pulled out from physical education to be able to go into other subjects if they were having to catch up on them, and they wouldn't turn up. So I felt like I wasn't really helping anyone. And I had started bodybuilding, and I realised that there was something that I could create within that. I was always very in tune with eating well, exercising, etc., even if it's a different capacity to what I do now. And I remember sitting with one of my best friends at university, and she said, "You should be a coach, or you should be a PT." So thank you, Poppy. I appreciate you saying that, because that is how it all began. So with the degree, I actually got a education on how to help others, how to coach, how to teach, masters in education, actual qualifications. Within coaching, there's not really such things as that. That's not a bad thing at all, but there's no kind of governing body checking that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, etc. For me, that's fine, but I personally like to have knowledge, experience, education around the things that I'm potentially doing, because that way you actually know what you're saying is potentially right and not going to hurt other people, which I think is a massive part of being a coach, actually being able to do and have a level of understanding to be able to give it to others. I also, at that time, when I was teaching and also doing my studies, I was doing many things at once. So I was doing my studies with being a full-time worker. I was also doing part-time work to be able to earn more money. I also was studying. I was also diving full-time, which then obviously then turned into bodybuilding. So I understood how to juggle more than one thing on my plate, but still be able to commit to all those things and do them well. Diving, obviously excelled within that, making it to the GB squad, European champion, world finalist, etc. Then obviously with my education, I ended up with a first class honours, I think that's what it's called. In my degrees, I got obviously a pass when it comes to my masters. I taught and got incredible references, got great people that I still speak to now. So I did all these things, and I did them well, and I juggled them all. And I feel like that's a huge part of coaching when it comes to bodybuilders, lifestyle, etc. The people that we are going to coach are going to be mums. They are going to be very dedicated family people. They are going to have full-time work as well as obviously trying to commit to everything bodybuilding. So if I was coming from a place of not understanding that, I don't think that I would have the best... I wouldn't be the best person to be telling someone how to do it. I always think if I'm going to tell someone that they need to do a certain thing, that I need to have either done it or experienced that myself. So because I juggled all those things, but also committed to them well, done well with them, I feel like I have the ability to be able to speak to them on a level and for them to respect that I have done all those things and committed to that process so that they can feel in good hands to be able to commit to that process themselves. So we talked. I decided that because I wanted to become a coach, I needed a job that allowed me to have a little bit of extra free time compared to what teaching allowed. Still brought in good money because obviously I had a house to be able to pay for and still be able to do everything from a bodybuilding perspective. So that's when I turned my foot into doing corporate finance for a few years because I didn't want to start my coaching without having another source of income coming in, because I think that's a great way to create stress when you start. So firstly, when it came to becoming a coach, I wanted to invest in my education, which is why I got a job that I was able to do that. If I wouldn't have had the corporate finance job, I wouldn't have money to have been able to invest into courses, into further studying around bodybuilding, or even commit to my own process as a bodybuilder, because experience is everything. So before I even decided, and this was a year or two into being an actual bodybuilder, so before I even decided to become a coach, I competed for 6 years. I had won my pro card. I had literally proven and given my life to every single part of it. So I gained experience whilst I was working full time. I did courses, I invested into my education, nutrition, training, biomechanics. I'm very lucky that I have incredible mentors, with that the main person being my husband, Kuba. He'd been coaching and helping bodybuilders for 10 years, 8 years, 10 years before I even met him. So he had a lot of knowledge that I could pick out of his brain. Also, other great mentors along the way from a business standpoint, coaching, even mindset, to be able to help and unlock my own potential, not as a bodybuilder, but also as a coach. But having mentors I am so incredibly grateful for definitely helped me in building my base of knowledge before deciding to become an online coach. So with the base of knowledge, I always like to think about it like a house. You would never build a house without foundations. If you do, it will crumble. So when it comes to any source of career, it's the same thing. You have to build a source of foundation, the knowledge, the understanding, before deciding to go down the route of that. Exactly the same as teaching. Couldn't just go into a school and start teaching children. Had to dedicate 3 years as an undergraduate and then a year as a postgraduate, plus then your NQT year, which is essentially a newly qualified teacher year, where you have to, it's like a placement, paid but not quite as much as a normal teacher. So that's another year basically of educating alongside the masters. So because I wasn't allowed to do that, just walk into the job, I understood that, and I understood the importance of learning and understanding something first before committing. It's like when it comes to coaching or when it comes to teaching, I had to do my teaching placements. So when it came to coaching, obviously it was 6 years from when I started bodybuilding all the way through to then deciding to become a coach. So with coaching, I decided, and from my mentors, especially Cuba, they said, you know, you should get some experience, get some clients, don't charge them, you've obviously got your job, and then build it up from there. So my first few clients I did take on for free. It allowed me to be able to build my portfolio. It allowed for me to be able to show that the knowledge that I had, I could apply that with helping other people, to show that I was able to do that with someone else before I started taking on a pool of people. I'm very lucky in that my first client that I did take on for free is still actually my client to this day, so 5 years later, in the form of Anya. If anybody watches my YouTube or follows me on Instagram, they will realise that she's an incredible competitor. She's been very close to winning her pro card quite a few years now. Bikini is very competitive, and I know that because I competed in bikini. It's about who turns up on the day. I mean, that's the same for every class, but there's just so many. It's very saturated. So it can be just like the smallest of tiniest of details when it comes to bikini. And we've just kind of missed from the pro card a few times. And it's never really been from a physique perspective, a condition perspective, etc. It could have been the hair, the posing, etc. Last year's feedback was you were shaking a little bit too much in your back shot, and that's how we gave it to the other girl. Oh, what a kick in the butt. Anyway, I was very lucky in that Anya had inquired with me, and because she'd seen what I'd personally done as a bodybuilder, she respected that. She was also going through the process of building up her career with her, she works in prosthetics, I think that's how you say it, with children and helping others, because she's actually got arthritis herself, nearly actually got amputated at the knee on both of her legs. So she wanted to help others that in a pathway that she could have potentially gone down with her life. But she balances all of that alongside being a very active family person, being a great person in the house, building great relationships. Really awesome when she comes to her career, literally developing all the time whilst really smashing her bodybuilding, literally committing to every part of the process. So being able to work along someone like that, building up my own personal portfolio, was absolutely fantastic. So if I'm giving any advice to someone, it would be put out there that you are obviously wanting to coach. Maybe that's through educating, saying that you're wanting to do that on your stories, etc. But definitely go with trying to build experience first, and that might be taking a few clients on for free to begin with. That's not selling yourself short. It's actually being able to build a portfolio and building a base of knowledge of being able to work with others. And also it allows you to be able to communicate with others without the pressure of obviously being your full-time job, meaning that you can actually ease into the role a little bit as well. So that was nice for me. So when it came to the transition from full-time work to online work, I personally made sure that I built up my portfolio of clients and my level of clients to the point where I was earning just as much, if not a little bit more, when it came to my coaching as my full-time job. Meaning that if a few clients dropped off, I would still be okay from a financial perspective to keep everything in terms of my life, my livelihood, my bodybuilding, food on the table, house under or roof on the house, etc., to make sure that that was all in a good place. I think often people transition into online coaching or even just self-employed just with that desire or the want or the passion, which is great, but without really thinking it through. And often people crumble because they've not set themselves up properly with a good base of foundation, and then they get very stressed because the financial side gets a little bit rocky. They start losing clients. They kind of get that kind of negative turnaround of everything feeling like you're just spinning the wheels. I think another thing as well, often, and speaking to others, you don't realise when it comes to online coaching that it is actually quite hard. You do have to be marketing, sales, service, admin, HR, all them job roles that you have in an actual full-time career within the industries or the companies that you work for, because you are self-employed. And that goes for anything. I'm not just talking about online coaching. It can be any self-employed career. That's what you are. So don't expect it to be easy, because you're not coming away from full-time work to have more free time. you're coming away from full-time work to make sure that you're actually committing to something when it comes to your own business, where you do have to push for those things. And if you are complaining about the fact that you have to do all those things, the marketing, the sales, making sure that everything's cushy from a back perspective when it comes to admin, then maybe online coaching or self-employed life is not actually for you, because it is hard. You are going to have peaks and troughs. We all have that when it comes to coaching. Clients dropping off, clients coming on, etc. And people move on with their lives, etc. So you have to make sure that you've built that base foundation before you decide to make that transition. So I built up that base foundation. I made sure that I had everything coming through from a revenues perspective before deciding to actually transition to self-employed full-time work. And that took time. I mean, I'm 5 years, I'm still very new to being an online coach. 5 years is not a long time, and people probably think that, you know, it's a lot longer, but that's also, if you think about it, 10 years worth of dedication, because I decided when I first started bodybuilding that that's what I wanted to do. It took 5 years before I actually started, another year before I actually transitioned to doing it full time, and then been doing it full time properly for 4 years. So that's a lot of dedication. So you need to make sure that you've got an education base. You need to make sure that you are very respectful of the mentors and people that are willing to help you, because they'll give back to you if you give back to them. When it comes to your clients, you need to make sure that you're listening to them. If they're not happy with certain things, if there's often common themes of negative feedback that you're getting, you need to take it on to make sure that you can do it a little bit better. If you have peaks and troughs, you've got to understand that you need to make sure that you are working. It's like when I first started coaching, because I was still working full time, I was working all day. But then that's similar now, in that I wake up in the morning and essentially it's not check-ins all day, but there's video clips, there's the marketing side, there's the admin side, etc. So it is an all day thing. It's not something that's going to be easy. So if you expect it to be, you're in for a big shock. If you want to be great at it, I think having a passion for something like that is truly awesome. I love helping other people. I love helping others to be able to achieve things that they want to, because bodybuilding definitely allows for you to understand that you are truly capable of more than what you expect, and you can transition that to all of your life if you truly take everything on board and really run with it. I'm truly grateful for Kuba and my other mentors and all the education that I've grown throughout my time as a bodybuilder. And I'm really grateful, or very proud of Kuba for actually taking on the Excellence Programme, where we help others like what I was, that wanted to transition over to full-time work, because essentially he did that for me. And now we're able to do that with others with our Coaching for Coaches Excellence Programme, that if you do want to join, please head to our website www.teammkcoaching.com, and you'll be able to inquire there. Also be able to inquire for coaching, whether that be with myself for coaching, or for competitive or non-competitive coaching, or with Kuba for competitive coaching. We also have Magda, who runs with some of our first time competitors as well as our lifestyle competitors. Myself and Magda also run the Empower, which is a 12-week program for people that aren't essentially looking for full online coaching, or just looking to see if it's a dip in the toe, see if they actually want to run with that afterwards, which has gone incredibly well this year, helping people to transform their lives, understanding health and fitness, etc. And it's just great. Like, I love it. I love the challenges that I face, the hard times, the good times. I love seeing my clients get on stage and do really well. What's really awesome is just to see the changes that happen in the confidence in people that eating well and training hard can actually give to you. So if you'd like coaching, please do drop me a DM or a inquiry on our website. But that's essentially what I did from transitioning to self-employed life. I built myself up, I got the education, I made sure that I had a good base before I transitioned over to self-employed work. And if I can give you any bit of advice, try and make sure that you take some of what I've said today on board and apply it to your own process, and you will find that your online coaching will boom.